Good evening, my name is Dan Collins, Fire Captain and Public Information Officer for CAL FIRE in the Butte unit. We just wanted to give you a quick overview of the situation that we got at hand, and tonight we'll have three guest speakers: Unit and Fire Chief Garrett Scholand, Butte County Sheriff Corey Honey, and District Attorney Mike Ramsey. At the end of the presentations, there will be some time for some Q&A, so please refrain from asking questions until the end. With that, I'd like to introduce Unit and Fire Chief Garrett Scholand.
Good evening, Butte County. Once again, we've been impacted by a significant fire here in Butte County. The park fire started yesterday just before 3 p.m. in the city of Chico's Upper Bidwell Park. Resources from the Chico Fire Department, CAL FIRE, Paradise, and Butte County Fire Departments, along with aircraft from CAL FIRE and Butte County Fire Departments, all responded. As the fire grew, additional resources were ordered and within the county as well as from outside of the county through our mutual aid process. The fire quickly began to outpace our resources because of the dry fuels, the hot weather, the low humidities, and the wind. By 11 p.m. last night, the fire had grown to approximately 6,500 acres, threatening the communities of Cohasset and Forest Ranch. By 3:30 a.m. this morning, the fire aggressively grew into the Tehama County, totaling 45,000 acres. This evening, we're sitting at about 75,000 acres and growing. Over 1,000 personnel are assigned to this fire. Over 120 fire engines are on the line, 10 helicopters, and 12 air tankers, including very large air tankers. We've had 2 minor injuries that have been treated by our firefighters and released. We have numerous structures that have been destroyed, and we're working to get an accurate number to share with you. The Butte County Emergency Operations Center is in operation. They have evacuation shelters established at the neighborhood church here in Chico, a large animal shelter in the Camelot off of Clark Road, and a small animal shelter in the Del Oro in Orville. You can also get more fire information by calling 211. I want to thank all state, county, and local firefighters and law enforcement for coming to assist us once again here in Butte County. To the citizens of Cohasset and Forest Ranch, we realize being evacuated is difficult, stressful, and challenging for you. We are working our hardest to protect your communities and appreciate your support and patience. I'll introduce Sheriff Corey Honey now.
Thank you, Chief. As the Chief said, my name is Corey Honey. I am the Sheriff of Butte County, and I too want to express regret and frustration by the fact that we are here once again. As the Chief pointed out, the fire started yesterday afternoon. The Sheriff's Office and the Chico Police Department immediately began to work cooperatively with the CAL FIRE and work to determine which communities were going to be threatened by the fire based on where it was going. We quickly learned that the community of Cohasset as well as Forest Ranch later in the evening were threatened, and so we initiated evacuation orders into those areas. Cohasset was particularly concerning to us because everyone who lives in Butte County and is familiar with that location knows that there is really only one way out, and that is a narrow, windy road, and it's hard to traverse. So we wanted to get those warnings out as quickly as we possibly could. Currently, there are 18 zones under evacuation orders in the unincorporated areas of Butte County. That's impacting approximately 4,000 residents. In addition to those areas where evacuation orders have been made, we have also put out evacuation warnings in 9 areas. Within the city of Chico, there are 3 zones that are under an evacuation order, which is impacting approximately 400 people. And since we're talking about zones, I want to take this opportunity to again compel, cajole, I don't know how to keep saying this over and over again. People have got to know their zones. They've got to pay attention to what we're saying. They've got to listen to us. If you don't know your zone by now, you can go onto the Butte County Sheriff's website. There's a button at the top of it. You click the button, it takes you to a site, you enter your address, it tells you your zone. I would recommend that you not only know your zone, but know the zones of where you work or where your kids go to school or where you might have family members who need help evacuating. It's imperative that you know those zones because that's how we communicate these threats to our community. In addition to that, you have to be prepared to go. Last night, while I was up in Cohasset with my staff, I ran across numerous people who were not prepared to go. In 3 cases, we ran across vehicles that were completely out of gas. If you live in one of these areas, you need to understand that during this particular time of the year, we are under a very high threat of fire. You have to be ready to go. I want you to know your zone. I want you to pay attention to what's going on. Listen to the warnings that we put out. Heed those warnings, and if an order is given, get the most important things that you have and get out. This county has seen time and time again where people have waited too long and they have lost their lives. And a little while ago, we reissued those zones that are under order to remind people, and we ended it with a strong advisement that if you're in those areas, we strongly encourage you to leave. And the reason for that is if the fire blows over, I can't make any promise or guarantee that we can get up there to save your life. And you may be in a position where you can't survive, and we've seen that happen here in Butte County. I too want to thank CAL FIRE and all of the other fire services who've come in to help us, but I also want to thank local law enforcement. All of the local law enforcement agencies in Butte County have joined together to coordinate evacuations and provide security. And in addition to that, we've activated mutual aid from throughout Northern California. So we have law enforcement officers from throughout Northern California here to assist us. It is maddening that we're here again, and it is particularly maddening that this particular fire was caused by an individual. For that, I'm going to turn this over to our District Attorney, Mike Ramsey, who can give you some information about the individual responsible for this and what actions he's taking to hold them accountable. Mr. Ramsey?
Thank you, Sheriff. I'm Mike Ramsey, Butte County District Attorney. And as the Sheriff has indicated, we all in Butte County are very sorry to be in this position again. I myself in the Thompson fire was evacuated from East Orville, so this is something that is very personal then, and my family was evacuated in the Camp Fire. 42-year-old Chico man, Ronnie Stout, was arrested at 2 a.m. last night by CAL FIRE, arson investigators, and district attorney investigators who surrounded his mobile home in a mobile home park here in Chico and demanded by loudspeakers that he come out with his hands up. He did, and he was arrested at that time under an arrest warrant that my office had sought from a local judge, and it was what we call a no bail arrest warrant. That no bail means he is in Butte County Jail right now with no possibility of bail until such time as he is arraigned on Monday afternoon, undoubtedly on a count of arson. What that count of arson will be and what enhancements to that is yet to be determined. We hope it will not be an enhancement of great bodily injury or death, but it is still early in this fire to make that determination. Basically, the evidence that led us to Mr. Stout was a witness in the upper Bidwell Park near Alligator Hole, saw what was later to be identified as Mr. Stout was by a vehicle, turned out to be his mother's vehicle. That witness saw a fire begin under the front left of Mr. Stout's vehicle and felt that his activity was somewhat strange and that he was doing nothing other than watching the fire. Then she saw him get into the vehicle, do something in the vehicle, get out of the vehicle, and then push the flaming vehicle down the embankment, some 60-foot embankment, down into a gully where the fire, the beginnings of the park fire, flared up, and we are here today because of that. Mr. Stout has a prior record. He has what we call 2 prior strikes. Those strikes, one in Butte County in 2001, a conviction of lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14, and another in 2002 in Kern County for robbery with great bodily injury. In 2003, as a result of those convictions, he was sent to state prison for 20 years. We do not know how long he spent in state prison at this time, but we do know he was out and up in Upper Bidwell Park when he was arrested for a DUI in 2020. And with that, we'll
All right, I'd like to take this opportunity to open the floor to questions. Any questions for the chief, the sheriff, or the district attorney?
The chief, please.
Chief.
If you kind of briefly describe to people who don't understand how fire crews are working out there, can you just kind of give a quick game plan on how we're tackling this fire?
Right, so this fire is moving very rapidly and very quickly. So there's parts of the fire that we can go direct onto the fire line and fight the fire, which is our primary tactic. And then there's other circumstances where the fire is outpacing us and we utilize our aircraft in coordination with our ground crews to slow it in order to get in there direct. So as we move resources into this fire, our priorities are the communities around the fire, and then as we get out into the more rural areas, we look at situations that are more difficult to access. We're waiting for additional resources to show up, and we'll move those resources out there as our secondary objective.
And then what additional resources are coming in? Are these out-of-state crews or?
I'm not aware of it out-of-state crews at the moment coming here, but we are getting out of the county crews from other places in California through the mutual aid system, as well as CAL FIRE resources from all over the state. We do have aircraft that are all, military aircraft that have been activated that will also be coming to help water drop in those efforts as well. There? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Can you explain where the fire is growing and whether or not it's jumped 32?
So it is not crossed 32. It is still to the north side of 32. It's kind of going along the north side of Upper Bidwell Park, if you will, and what we refer to as the Musty Buck Ridge Plateau to the north of Forest Ranch. So there's no immediate threat to Forest Ranch right now, but we are closely monitoring that, and active crews are in there on the fire line as well as aircraft to keep it in that location if we can. The fire is moved in a northerly direction, skirting alongside Cohasset, and is impacting or will be impacting Cohasset here this evening. And it is moved into Tehama County as well as the Ishii Wilderness area, all the way up towards what we refer to as the Mill Creek drainage, and probably beyond at this point, but I don't have the latest information on that.
And then looking at like the weather to come overnight in the next couple days, do you see any like reprieve coming, or is it more of the same in terms of?
We have red flag warning coming into over the fire, so we're not seeing any reprieve until we get towards the latter half of into the weekend, Friday into Saturday, and we're still looking at those winds, which could impact how the fire moves at those times as well. So it's kind of a moving target with the way the weather patterns are coming in right now to Butte County. Okay. Anybody else?
Can I have my answer? Sorry.
yes.
My audio has trouble hearing. What are the charges that the suspect is currently facing?
He is not currently facing charges because we have to review the evidence and make a determination as to what the charges will be come Monday at arraignment. He is booked on suspicion of intentional arson.
Any other questions from the floor? Okay, this will conclude our 1600-hour media briefing for today. Thank you very much.